Hello, my name is Sarah Suggs, President and CEO of the Sandra Day O'Connor Institute for American Democracy. As we gather today to celebrate the kickoff of the 2021 Regents Cup, I'm especially honored to join you in the celebration of free speech. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the O'Connor House, the family home of United States Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. This home is not only an historic landmark, but a rich symbol of civil discourse and free speech. Please, come in. By the late 1950s, Sandra Day O'Connor and her husband John built an adobe home in Paradise Valley, Arizona. At the time, Justice O'Connor was serving as the first majority leader for the Arizona State Senate, and the first woman in the country to hold this leadership position for any state legislature. Today, the House proudly sits in Tempe's Papago Park on the Arizona Heritage Center campus, a symbol of civil discourse for all Arizonans. The O'Connor's family life is centered around this home. In the 1970s, the O'Connor's hospitality became legendary, and they often entertained with a purpose, that of inviting Arizona state and community leaders to their home to build friendships and working partnerships, even when the leaders held fiercely different points of view. Over supper, deep, direct, and respectful conversation would combine with friendship and wit to reach consensus. It is that spirit of civic engagement that inspires the mission of both the O'Connor Institute and the Regents Cup.
Well, having done the math recently, it's been nearly 50 years since we first met, and I was a young girl. My father used to take me to the legislature. I would hang out there and sit through committee hearings and so forth. But what I remember the most was the fact my father was a conservative Republican. Yep. Art was the minority leader eventually as a Democrat. I'm not sure you and he agreed on anything but respect for one another. And so as a young child to watch that and watch how civil discourse and working together, with people that you don't necessarily agree with, but that you can get along with and forge solutions to big problems. And so that had a significant impact on me and really the course of my life and how I comport myself with other people. So you're a big part of that. And I know Justice O'Connor, you had an opportunity to serve with her. My father had an opportunity to serve with her. And she was just really, for all of us, a model of how a civil society and a self-governing society should operate.
The thing that I think is most important about Justice O'Connor is she always made us understand that it wasn't the color of the uniform you were wearing that was important. It was whether or not you shared equally in the sense that what you wanted to do was to make the state better. The justice always told me, of course, she was at that time the Senate Majority Leader, but she said, Mr. Hamilton, your greatest gift and opportunity is to be true to actually serving the people who sent you down here. And if that becomes bigger and more important to you than your ego, you'll do well.
Well, her words of wisdom are truer today than ever before. As we watch the inability of so many Americans to get along and to talk to one another. When you can no longer use your words, what's left, right? And she often said that, our democracy is one generation away from extinction, and she committed so much of her life, and the O'Connor Institute continues to commit its mission to making sure that people understand the importance of civility with one another. And so I can tell you, as I wander through life, you and your example will continue to lead me.
Both the justice and folks who I grew up with and trusted talked about civility, comity, courtesy. That was the way to function in the chamber. You could yell, you could scream if you like, but what you'd end up at the end of the day was simply talking to yourself. If it wasn't so much you had the right to talk, but you wanted people to listen and to consider if there was any virtue or wisdom in what you said, what that was. And you can't really do that if you're yelling at people. It's a conversation. Even when it's hard, even when it's difficult, even when there is strong disagreement, it's still a conversation. the thing that I think Justice O'Connor taught us, and I still go by today, is that there really are no enemies down there. You have adversaries, but you don't have any enemies. And the person who is your adversary on a bill today is the one you're trying to get a vote from tomorrow. So don't go burning any bridges that you're going to go trying to trot back across tomorrow. And it was a life lesson. It continues to be a life lesson that I'm hoping more and more folks in the public arena, the public sphere today, learn. And it's why I'm so absolutely thrilled about this whole idea of having this ability through the universities to have this conversation, to allow students to learn the trick, the science of talking with great strength and commitment about what you believe, but understanding that the person with whom you may disagree, not your enemy, it's a person that otherwise you probably would like a lot and do. They just simply disagree with you on an issue.
Well, very much like Justice O'Connor, President Reagan said, it's not passed down through our bloodstream. We have to teach it. We have to nurture it. And while higher education throughout the country gets, in many cases, rightfully criticized for students not being able to speak their minds or having a particular set of opinions, our universities, while not perfect, our universities in Arizona are doing far better than most of the country. And for that, I'm extremely proud. And I think we can lead the way. We can lead by example. Our students can lead by example. So I'm very excited to watch the competition this year. And as I say to everybody, may the best team win.
The thing about the Regents Cup and what goes on in the Regents Cup is that it teaches things you simply can't learn without having an opportunity to engage. So you have the formality of it, which means you have to prepare. You just can't come flying by the seat of your pants, but it has the fluidity that allow you to kind of grow and hear. I watched students listen to the argument of the other side and then see them changing the things they planned to say because they found out there was something, a point that was made over there, that made some sense, or I can better that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's that kind of interchange. It's the interplay of ideas that can only happen in that kind of setting. And that's why it's so rich. It's why it's absolutely so rich.
And I was struck by the winner of the Cup. She was essentially transformed during this process. She started, when she first started preparing for the competition, or what even attracted her, is her belief that you should be able to shut down speakers with whom you disagree. And yet she learned through the process that actually that's absolutely the wrong path. She said that the way to solve problems and really attack big issues is through discourse and persuasion and learning the art of persuasion. So it was, for me, the highlight of the inaugural Regents Cup was the transformation of that one individual. And I know that, I'm sure, played out in many of the other competitors. And so, for them to be able to take those skills into their life and hopefully, be examples for other people gives me hope for the future.
As Arizona's 3 public universities come together in celebration of free speech for the annual Regents Cup, we are proud to honor Justice O'Connor's legacy. This weekend, you will hear from students at Arizona's 3 public universities who will engage in thoughtful speaking and rigorous debate. As the future leaders of Arizona and our nation, we are eager to learn from these talented students who are championing civil discourse for the next generation. Thank you for participating in the 2021 Regents Cup and for celebrating the importance of free speech on college campuses.